Hello, this is Engima. You are listening to my 500mg Methoxphenidine experience report. After a night of disrupted sleep due to high levels of excitement keeping me from nodding off, I'm relieved to finally see the postman arrive and deliver my package at 11:15 in the morning. I then take it up to my bedroom, dump the powder on my scales and weigh out 300mg, which I divide into two 150mg parachutes, 150mg being the high end of Tripsit's heavy dosage range and more than sufficient to induce a strong hole. I weigh out an additional 200mg, which I divide into four 50mg rails for nasal insufflation. At midday, I snort the first 50mg rail, 50mg being sufficient for a threshold dose. Mild effects begin to occur roughly half an hour later. I feel somewhat more alert, with mild waves of euphoria compounded in a warm, tingling sensation which travels from the top of my head down throughout the rest of my body. This correlates with the speculated dopaminergic and noradrenergic activity attributed to this novel dissociative. Moderate physical relaxation in the form of decreased muscle tension is also noted. Having indulged this substance on approximately 50 occasions, give or take a few, I have come to the conclusion that at this dose, methoxphenidine seems to behave more like a mild stimulant than a dissociative, with little to no dissociative effects present. An hour after administering the first dose, I snort another 50mg, before snorting 30mg of nitrocaine in a bid to synergize methoxphenidine's speculated dopaminergic qualities with the effects of a dopamine reuptake inhibitor. Almost immediately afterwards, I experience a noticeable lifting of my mood, alongside moderate stimulation of my central nervous system. 45 minutes later, I become aware of the onset of dissociative effects, including the emergence of depersonalization, suppression of information processing, and a vague sensation of changes in my perceived bodily mass. In addition to this, my speech begins to sound increasingly robotic, and when I get up to move, I walk with a robotic gait in my step, much like robo-walking on DXM, yet also distinct. Before long, I begin to peak, experiencing the unique sensation of my mind becoming separated from my body, an effect which is exclusive to NMDA receptor antagonists. As the sensation grows, it encourages abstract thinking and conceptual thought processing, providing a strong catalyst for profound self-realizations and insights, these being two of the main reasons that I love using dissociatives such as methoxphenidine. Feeling excitable, I drop the first 150mg parachute, turn the lights off in my bedroom, and switch on my ceiling projector, which paints the room with all manner of morphing psychedelic patterns. As far as I'm concerned, no indoor dissociative trip is complete without this piece of essential equipment. An hour passes, and I begin to lose track of time, as I progress from being somewhat dissociated to being very strongly dissociated. The conditions are now right for a fully blown trip, which appears to begin when I start to perceive the form of people in the corners of my eyes. For brief moments, I seem to forget that I'm in my bedroom altogether, believing instead that I'm at a nightclub surrounded by crowds of people who are dancing and ordering drinks. I drop the second parachute, and as the evening unfolds, I'm carried along my course by waves of intense, all-encompassing euphoria, both cognitive and physical, which continue to inspire wonderment and awe all the way through to my final destination, this being the fabled dissociative hole. I totter about on the edge of the event horizon for a short time before loading up my favourite mix of binaural beats, inserting my headphones, wrapping a makeshift blindfold around my head, and finally submitting myself to astral travel just before sunrise. Behind the blindfold, I can make out the internal contours of a box-like structure which appears to resemble the dimensions of my bedroom, albeit as if I were viewing a black and red negative image of the real thing. Then, much like a helium balloon, I float gently up towards the ceiling, pass through it and continue my ascent for a short time. Below me, I can perceive the surface of a world which, expressed in these shades of black and red, looks distinctly alien. For the next hour, I'm shown around my new environment at the discretion of an unknown force, as I have no control over my movement within this mysterious void. Due to the amnesiatic effects associated with taking high doses of methoxphenidine, I cannot recall much of what I saw during this time, but vaguely remember seeing hills and valleys, vast areas of countryside, the occasional built-up area, and less frequently the forms of people and animals. When the dissociative effects begin to wear off, I take off the blindfold and reflect upon my experience for a couple of hours before going about my daily routine. In the days following this experience, I felt energized, motivated, and for lack of a better term, on top of the world. I have sorely missed this magical powder since the psychoactive substance bill was enforced in the UK, effectively banning all research chemicals, including, much to my disappointment, my beloved methoxphenidine. I would travel far and wide in order to secure a small amount of this fascinating chemical once again, and although I have been able to achieve somewhat similar experiences using other dissociative hallucinogens such as ketamine, never have I been able to replicate anything as boundless, immersive and awe-inspiring as the methoxphenidine experience. I apologise that I've not been able to go into greater detail about this experience. It occurred just under 2 years ago, and I've had to rely on my memory and a basic trip report I wrote on the day of the experience in order to bring this video to you. If you enjoyed this experience report, please consider helping me out by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Lastly, always practice harm reduction techniques when using substances like methoxphenidine, and stay safe. This is Engima saying God bless you and peace out for now.